like the trade union, when they do a strike, then like everybody has to go on strike. So this is something similar, Yeah, but here it means kind of you don't need to have like I don't know, million followers, but if you have like 2,000 like very aligned and very kind of organized people capable of daily collective action. Actually, it's scalable, so it doesn't need to be like everybody is like doing the same like difficult thing, but it could be just like liking or retweeting something, or let's say then quote tweeting something. It's more difficult than, let's say, if you post like a podcast. Let's say Balaji now has the network state podcast. So, and some people can engage, like, let's say, in like creating shorter clips out of the long content, and it's like so they can create like this micro content of it, and it's quite valuable actually in posting it on, let's say, I don't know, TikTok or I almost said Tinder, but it doesn't make sense. I wanted to say.
Hello, welcome back to Mtambo Desk podcast. My name is Jakub Mtambo, and the following is a conversation with Jakub Simek, a co-founder of Wezesha DAO and an author of Wisdom Enterprising. In today's episode, I'll be talking with Jakub Simek about his article, Network Union, under the daily Balajisms series. And now, dear friends, here is Jakub Simek. Jakub, thank you for joining me again at Mtambo Desk podcast.
Hi, Duke. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Let's start with the basics. Balaji Srinivasan defines a network union as a social graph organized in a tree-like structure with a leader, a purpose, a crypto-based financial and a message system, and a daily call to action. What do you think about this definition, and how do you see network unions fitting into the bigger picture of the network state?
Right. So the network union, I think it's a crucial innovation here, like conceptual innovation. It's like connecting the network, like Balaji has these three leviathans, like the God, the state, and the network. And he's connecting it with like a previous structure of the unions, like, so it could be like, like you have the trade unions. And the key difference here, it's the second step, by the way, in his like kind of 7-step program or something like that to create network states. So it's like the book, and then like what something, and then the network states should emerge like maybe within 10 years. That would be a great success. Like the first recognized network state. And
but also on this in the steps of the network state, I think also it's like the second, because also there's startup society.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the second step, because the startup society is like the new society as a service. So, and it's like the new SaaS, like not the software as a service, but the society as a service. And basically it can be launched by anyone with a laptop. So if you are like a founder, you feel like, okay, you have a special moral innovation, like the one commandment, or a certain moral innovation that differentiates you from the mainstream society, you can start your own startup society. And actually there is, if you go to the networkstate.com/dashboard, you can see the examples of of startup societies. There is actually also at least one from Africa. I think it's called Afropolitan. So it's like some kind of like Pan-African kind of club.
Yeah, I think so, from Nigeria.
Yeah, it's from Nigeria. And I'm not sure if there is not even like a second one from Africa, but like at least one from Africa is there. Last time I checked, I think there are 26 of these startup societies. And basically, yeah, you just need a good idea. And the moral innovation, as we discussed, or the one commandment is something like sugar bad or sugar is bad, or something like so for a keto kosher startup society, or life extension is good, or longevity is good, or just self-improvement is good for, let's say, some kind of biohackers or people who perceive that we should have some kind of smart regulations around health, and maybe fitness is like the magic the backdoor to longevity or something like that. So yeah, and you can have some even like maybe weirder startup societies like formal wear, where I don't know, if for some reason you think that maybe formal wear will bring more civility to discourse, so you want to, I don't know, you are building a club where everybody is dressed well in a formal wear.
Okay.
So something like that. Yeah, so that's the first step, and now we are discussing the second step, which is the network union. Which is like a much harder bar to cross, and a much higher bar, sorry, to cross, because yeah, it's a social graph. So imagine like Twitter or Facebook, but it's a social graph that is actually capable of like a daily digital collective action. At least, it doesn't need to be physical. That's like the third step, the network archipelago. Yeah, but the digital and it's capable of much higher levels of community engagement. So imagine Twitter, like if you have, I don't know, you have like over 10,000 followers, but let's say I have over 1,000, and I post, I tweet something and I get like 2 likes or something like that.
Yeah,
So
same to me. I guess I don't know, even mine, I think the 10,000 followers that I got, I remember maybe I could have stuck to because it was the more followers I got was based on the BLM, remember?
Yeah.
From US. So yeah, it was kind of activism, and yeah. So nowadays I don't post anything about say activism or politics, So I'm now shifting into the network state and the podcast. So.
Yeah, but as we discussed, the quantity is not always the key. Balaji has this idea of the news you can use, or the news for one person. Like the next founder, of a startup society. So let's say if I don't know, 2,000 people listen to us, or 200 people listen to us, but like if there is like 1 or 2 who actually will start their own startup societies, then we will be happy.
Yeah,
that's like that's like the mission accomplished. We don't need to go to 2 million, but like, to use the Balaji's example, so imagine you have 1 million followers. I don't know, Balaji has over 700,000 on Twitter, but like, let's say across platforms. Well, okay, let's stick to Twitter. So you have 1 million followers on Twitter. And if you tweet something, you get like 2,000 likes, like that's his example. But that actually translates to like 0.2% of engagement of your like community, So yeah, and so imagine now that with network union you would get like close to 100%. So it's like it's like orders of magnitude difference. It's like yeah, it's like 500 times the difference or something. So it's like yeah, imagine like the trade union, when they do a strike, then like everybody has to go on strike. So this is something similar. Yeah, but here it means kind of, you don't need to have like I don't know, million followers, but if you have like 2,000 like very aligned and very kind of organized people capable of daily collective action. Actually, it's scalable, so it doesn't need to be like everybody is like doing the same like difficult thing, but it could be just like liking or retweeting something, or let's say then quote tweeting something. It's more difficult than, let's say, if you post like a podcast, let's say Balaji now has the network state podcast, so and some people can engage, like let's say in like creating shorter clips out of the long content, and it's like so they can create like this micro content of it, and it's quite valuable actually in posting it on, let's say, I don't know, TikTok or I almost said Tinder, but that doesn't make sense. I wanted to say, I wanted to say TikTok.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
TikTok or Snapchat or like, I don't know, like some other like social media like Instagram, and of course every media has like a different kind of purpose,
Engagement.
engagement, and so, but okay, and then let's say the next step is like writing your own content, or like doing your own podcast. It could be like if you don't have time, maybe you can contribute money to some projects of some other members, and this is just an example, like how this could be scalable. And then there are some like more complex, more long-term kind of projects. But it's quite different also from online mobs, like Balaji also discusses how actually it's much easier to break things, like you can like massively parallel, or you can have like a parallel kind of engage. Let's say if you engage in destruction, let's say some like a mob gathers and, like, I don't know, is trying to destroy some kind of building, it's much actually easier to destroy something than to build something. It's like orders of magnitude again, like easier, and you can like parallelize it, like, I don't know, one person throws a brick, another person throws a stone, and this is like then it's kind of easy. And this is the similar thing actually with online mobs. It's easy, like one person like writes this hateful comment, another one this, third one retweets something, so it's kind of easy. But like to build actually something, it's much it's like orders of magnitude harder. It's like to raise a kid, it takes 18 years, or something, but like to destroy someone takes like seconds. So it's like also kind of similar similar metaphor, but it's also like much more I mean, it requires much more skilled labor to actually create something. But on the other hand, as we discussed, like it's kind of scalable, or there are levels of difficulty. So let's say to retweet something doesn't require much skill or any skill, or to write something. Then maybe to edit a video, then again, now this requires some skill, and to write content, to code, but with crypto and with the different incentives, you can kind of activate your social graph much more, and you can also connect your social graph and create like a complete graph, complete social graph, meaning like ideally all your members should know each other like on a kind of like personal level, like especially if you are creating like the third step, like the network archipelago, and you are creating also in-person community with like in-person levels of civility where people are building trust together. The idea is like not that it's just like some kind of hierarchy where there is like one recognized founder, and then there are just like members, but in the ideal case and in like the actual case, like how Balaji envisions it, you don't want some NPCs, some like non-player characters just like listening to orders of some leader, but you want them interacting together and being like active, so that's like what Balaji talks about, like activating your graph or your social graph.
I think the Twitter is a great example, and it really shows the difference. Shows the difference between the network union and the traditional social network. But as you mentioned, network union being the second step towards the network state, which is a digital native form of bottom-up bottom-up nation building. Balaji believes that getting everyone aligned is the goal of the 2020s. Maybe can you give an example of a network union in practice?
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's actually with the network archipelago, there are like more because it's like physical. There are maybe more examples. Then we can also discuss like on other on the next podcast discussing the network archipelago.
Maybe, there's an example you used
let
to
me
mention.
Think about it.
About the
Okay.
There's an example I think you used to mention about the guild of a graphic designer as a network unit.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, but because I thought you are asking about the like existing examples already, like with the network archipelago, it's like easier to translate it to the real world, where even with something like a network state, because you have like the Knights of Malta, let's say they're diplomatically recognized, they own some real estate, or you have like something like a Soho House. It's like a membership club that is international, and it's for like creative people and celebrities, so if you Google Soho House, then and it's also a franchise, like let's say McDonald's is a franchise. So like with the network archipelagos, there are like some predecessors, like how you could do it, like with the network union. Balaji gives this example of of a guild. So guild is like the kind of ancient structure, like let's say of some trades, so of some occupations, or like actually some craftsmen, they had guilds, like let's say some blacksmith, or how you call them, people, or people like some artisans. Basically they have their like they have their guilds. So, and imagine something like a digital guild. So this could be or as I mentioned before, like the network plus the trade union kind of idea from the past, but like now in the network age. So the guild of graphic designers can operate purely digitally, because like, okay, they're graphic designers, they work remotely, or they can work remotely if they choose so, and they have some kind of norms of behavior, and most of the time they're just like learning together, or like promoting each other's work, giving feedback to each other. But the guild is built around like the moral kind of innovation, or the one commandment that cancellation is bad, so so if one of the members gets canceled online, or there is an attempt to cancel her or him online, then the other members like check, okay, like their code of conduct, and they see like, okay, that person actually didn't do anything terrible, or it might have been like way back when they were just a kid or something, and there was like not something like truly terrible, but just someone tries to cancel them, I don't know, because somebody is jealous of their success, or something like that, I don't know. And now they are kind of, so most of the time, like 99% of the time, they're just like retweeting or giving feedback to each other's work as graphic designers. But like when there is this time of I don't know, there is a attempt at cancellation of one of their members, then now they all come and they all support that member, like they give some like positive feedback, they try to they come up with a counter narrative, they spread the message that actually this person is like a valued member of their community, and that person did a lot of great things, and actually that attempt at cancellation is unfair, and this is why it's unfair, and so this is a good example, like let's say like something like not just like an insurance policy for people who are like very online, but they are, let's say, also like graphic designers working remotely, so they don't actually need to share some kind of like in-person meetups, or like organize some in-person meetups. So this could be like a purely digital network union that actually can stay on this level and doesn't need to progress into like the network archipelago and eventually into the network state. So yeah, thanks Duke for actually, yeah. So this is like a good example, but I thought you mean like something that is already like existing and might be like a good metaphor or a good practical example from actually current times. But this is something that anyone can relate to, the Guild of Graphic Designers that try to protect each other from cancellation online.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's very fascinating. And do you think that the network unions have the potential to become network states?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question actually, because maybe you are asking like if they actually need to go through the stage of the network archipelago.
Yes,
probably. Yeah. You know, I think that at the beginning, like, okay, Balaji also gave this like short talk at a conference called SALT. So it's like an abbreviation of something. And it's like a 13-minute talk of why the network states are possible, preferable, and profitable. So I encourage everyone to listen to it or to watch it, because it's like really short and really concise. And there is like a good, lots of good arguments. But like, okay, I think that, he says that within, on some other podcasts as well, he says that within 10 years, if there is like the first diplomatically recognized a network state, that would be like a huge success, you know. And again, it could be something like the Knights of Malta, you know, that are like have diplomatic relations like with over 100 countries, plus Web3, plus on-chain census, plus on-chain voting, and etc. etc. But I think like I think the first network states, if they are recognized, which we hope they will be, like, let's say within 10 years, they will actually, I think, progress from the network archipelago. So from the physical real estate kind of footprint, like the community that also meets in person and has like this crypto history of in-person meetups, that actually they can prove like actually, okay, they have these many people in these locations that are meeting regularly. They have these many people in another location across the globe, you know, and they I think it's just like I might be actually totally wrong, because okay, this is like something different. Let's say Bitcoin is pretty different from the dollar, so it actually might be the case that yeah, actually maybe the network unions will be recognized, even even this kind of like purely digital network unions will be recognized. It's possible, but like my first intuition is that because of the definition of what is a nation or what is a state, you know, and it should have some kind of like a territory and population. So I think it's kind of like a more natural for the legacy institutions and the fiat countries to recognize something that has actually like a, let's say, cryptographically verifiable track record of let's say owning real estate properties around the world. So if it's like purely digital, there might recognize something, like they definitely recognize it as a phenomena, you know, like there is this term actually over I think 20 years old. It's called the new politics. I mean, and the Rand Corporation actually came up with it. Okay, they call it like new politic because I don't know. It's like not the real politic, but the new politic, and it's but it has the term is from the new sphere, so it's like the sphere of the mind. You know, it's like the internet created the sphere of the mind, so you don't have the geosphere, but the new sphere, and the goal is like to to shape stories that can influence that can win, the stories that can win minds of others, or something like that, with the no politics, which is an interesting framing. But then there is also this like concept of memetic tribes from Peter Lindbergh. He wrote like the Culture War 2.0, if you Google it, or memetic tribes. Then it's like a long kind of piece on Medium, and it's actually quoted by this Rand Corporation. I actually wrote also a longer article. I think that I believe that it was also at least liked and shared by someone like affiliated or related to this kind of like research. It's also called No Politic, and I don't know, I'm actually creating some kind of framework with like how this could how this could work. Like I'm using like Baudrillard simulacra together with another kind of framework and merging them together. So like Keegan is another framework, and like basically the idea is like that you could operate on like 4 different levels, or play like a 4-dimensional chess on 4 different levels at the same time. And the 4th level is like so yeah, it's something like you could perceive. So the first level is like like quoting, like I can perceive reality. The second level is I can manipulate the reality. The third level is like I belong to a tribe, and the 4th level is like I can manipulate tribes, and the 5th level is I can actually switch easily between these 4 levels, and I know at which level I am, and so I'm kind of aware of this this kind of game, because often, we discussed, for example, that the legacy media, they were often like just reacting towards Trump. So like when Trump was very scared of the quote China virus, as he called it, then they were like just reacting against him, like no, actually it's not so bad, it's just the flu, that was the narrative. And but they were not actually considering the level 1, like I can perceive reality, but they were like just like I belong to a tribe. So like when this a red tribe is saying something, we are just saying something different. And then actually when he switched, and then he said like, okay, it's like it's nothing, like they were like then they were again like super serious about the virus. And let's say when he was releasing the what is it, the Operation Warp Speed, so when he was releasing the vaccine, let's say Kamala Harris was saying like I will not take the Trump vaccine, vaccine. So they're like the politicians, they're playing like on the 4th level of this like Baudrillard simulacra. So they are like trying to manipulate various memetic tribes, or let's say like the blue tribe versus the red tribe, but you have like so many, you have like tens or even hundreds maybe now of different memetic tribes, and basically you want to kind of do the mergers and acquisitions between them, like kind of so but this like no politics. So like therefore I'm discussing it because it's actually it's recognized by the international community. So for over 20 years, like the Rand Corporation actually is writing about this, and so they have written like, I don't know, 3 papers if I'm correct. So it's like a known phenomenon that there is actually this noosphere. It's a term from a French priest some 100 years ago. He came up with it actually he kind of imagined something like the internet like 100 years ago, which is pretty cool. Now the name of him kind of escapes me, but Pierre de Chardon, I think that's his name. So
I think
so basically this kind of concept like is already in the international relations. So but like to recognize someone, I don't know, you would because like let's say corporations are kind of they're big international corporations, and they do already deals between countries, like for example Balaji mentions this like Tuvalu and the I think GoDaddy, like, you know, for .tv domain, or you have like .co, I think it's Colombia, you know, domain. You have the Gigafactory doing deals, let's say, with the Shanghai regional government or in Berlin, or they are like kind of like trying to like Amazon HQ too. So they are trying to, like, I don't know, make the U.S. states compete against each other for where the HQ will be located. So there are like deals between corporations and sovereigns, so like cities or states or the EU, probably, I don't know, like but yeah, of course, there are also the EU is negotiating directly like with big tech companies. But these companies also, they have their own, like, I mean, they have also their physical presence, but like with remote work and with Starlink and with these kind of other innovations as we discussed, yeah, I mean, you could have like a purely remote company, let's say, doing a deal with the sovereign state. So okay, and being like de facto recognized, let's say, because they're really big and they're like a really big employer. So let's say, as we discussed with some ideas about the pseudonymous economy, or the economy, like, let's say, people earning earnings through Replit bounties. So imagine you have like I don't know, loads of people, like if you had like millions of people on like doing some like skilled tasking through your network union. So again, like, imagine this is like something like the guild of graphic designers, or the guild of coders, you know, that is also like protecting the people against cancellation, but they're also like, I don't know, helping each other to find work or to like get some constructive feedback. And if they had like a million something skilled freelancers, or let's say like people engaged in the tasking, like skilled tasking, yeah, then it would be like I think quite it would have also some kind of political power there, you know. It's like it's not just, it's okay, okay, it's not just kids, let's say, discussing on Discord, or kids like in some kind of Reddit, or I don't know, a Facebook group or something like that. It's like, it's serious because it's already economy, you know, like people rely on that income, you know. And it can happen because people like now in remote places have internet access, and they can like there is this like longitudinal arbitrage that you could do, like, actually to to help uplift loads of people, like in rural areas, and provide, like, help them to earn income. So that's like one way. Another one could be when you have like not millions of people, but let's say it could be even like hundreds or even like low thousands, but they're like super good at building stuff, you know. So it's like now this is like the Kodak, I mean the Instagram versus Kodak kind of moment, you know. So you could have like, I don't know, 12 people against 12,000 or something like that. So now when you have like these like super skilled people, I don't know, building AI, building next gen of like decentralized social, decentralized AI, and decentralized crypto, and also being able to protect countries from let's say hackers, protect countries from like some drones. This could be like tens or hundreds or low thousands of people, and they could have also like a very strong leverage, I think, not against the state but towards the state, you know, like, so they could get diplomatically recognized. Now this is just like pure brainstorming, and it's actually possible. This is possible, but Yeah, but like my first intuition is like maybe you should go. Like my first intuition is that the network archipelagos will get recognized sooner than the pure network unions that actually don't progress into the physical world, like buying a real estate and having physical meetups.
I think you're right, because as Balaji says, if a network union grows enough and achieves sufficient traction, it could eventually become diplomatically recognized as a network state. This is because sufficient traction is a de facto diplomatic recognition. And I think you mentioned in those examples, those main examples you say there.
Yeah, like especially maybe just to highlight one Tesla Gigafactory, in Shanghai. So Tesla is like, okay, Elon Musk revolutionized the EV industry, made it mainstream, the electric vehicle industry, and now you have like two companies in the world that are actually profitable. It's like the Tesla and BYD. Actually, Tesla produces more cars than Renault or sells. Sorry, it sold more cars last year than Renault, and which is a French auto manufacturer. But now we are comparing like just pure EVs. They don't have any like IC internal combustion engine vehicles. They're just like pure EVs versus Renault, like the whole group. I'm not sure if it includes Dacia, like this comparison, but like if you just take like Renault as Renault cars around the world, like so more Teslas were sold than Renaults. And Tesla example is really good because they were able to change the rules for a gigafactory in Shanghai, in China, where the other manufacturers couldn't. So the other manufacturers they go through like these joint ventures. So they have like these, I think it's called like OEDs or OEMs. I don't know, like some these like external kind of manufacturers, contractor manufacturers, or they have these joint ventures. I forgot the abbreviation, but like basically often, like let's say they have some factory that is producing cars for them, but they don't own the factory. That's the idea. But like Tesla in Shanghai, so the Gigafactory in Shanghai, they changed these kind of rules there. So it's like a good proof of what Balaji means by traction. The sufficient tractions means de facto diplomatic recognitions, because they changed the rules for Gigafactory, but they didn't change it for the legacy automakers. So, and I think this is the same thing. Like, it's just not, if you are like, you need to be like super good, I think, and at what you do to be recognized. It's like, it's also something that what we discussed. Like the Chinese are really good at hard power, and also Elon Musk is good at hard power. In this case, it means like building stuff. Like Boring Company, SpaceX with building new types of rockets and Starlink and so on. So so this is definitely, and he is also good at soft power because he is like the most followers on Twitter. Now he also bought Twitter. And of course he's also like good at smart power, but like and again, this is like going back to this like CCP, NYT versus BTC, so kind of triangle. It's like the mega politics of Balaji, like kind of mega political theory of Balaji, like having these three power attractors, like the woke capital, the crypto capital, and the communist capital. So the CCP, the communist capital, NYT, the woke capital, and BTC, the crypto capital. And kind of this is the triangle. And so, but like actually Elon Musk is able to kind of have
play with all of them.
Yeah, but also to have like enough like hard power, soft power, and smart power. So it's like a good example of I think someone who could pull it off, like, even for the network union, probably,
I think that's a great example and great point, because Balaji's idea of network unions I think it's very fascinating, and it seems like they have a lot of potential. With network unions, small, highly aligned communities can have a big leverage. Let's say 2,000 people can create more than a million followers. But as we wrap up this conversation, do you think that network unions are the future of society, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean they will play a big role because as Balaji says, like the goal of the 2010s was to get everyone online. You know, like I don't know, Facebook provided some like almost free connection, internet connection, just to get people on Facebook in some countries. So the goal of the 2010s was to get everyone online, and the goal of 2020 is to get everyone aligned. So that doesn't mean everyone aligned into one unified global government,
Yeah.
but it means everyone like kind of re-tribalized and aligned in some kind of like fractal kind of communities of people who share the same values. And so you are now, but these kind of communities are checked by the exit, by the easiness of exit. So I think the easier the exit, the more ethical the community. That's the idea. So it's I think it's pretty okay if the community has a recognized founder, and like the network union has a recognized founder. There is this daily call to, I don't know, digital action, let's say retweeting something, or like writing some posts, or like I don't know, sharing or creating some content, or giving feedback to members. But if someone doesn't like that community, I think if it's like highly ethical, the easier the exit, the more ethical the community. And Balaji has this concept, the exit to world, which means kind of like open sourcing the technology, let's say, behind the network state. So yeah, I think it will have it will have an impact, like these ideas. Let's see about the time frame, like how fast they will catch on, because you probably for digital sorry, for network union and for like this digital first community, you need something, maybe probably new technologies, like new decentralized social network, something like probably Discord is maybe not the best suited for it, but like it's you know, it's like something like decentralized Discord, like, but focused on not just on like discussing crypto or something, or waiting for an airdrop, you know, when airdrop, but focused on like tasking, you know, like smart tasking. And like, so let's say you log in with your like crypto credential that kind of proves that, let's say, you are able at coding in this kind of language, or creating these kind of things, or writing this type of content. And you basically, and then you get access to these kind of tasks, and you can like complete it, complete this task, post it, get paid in crypto. And so it's like a new kind of interface, but it's also not just a company, and it's not just like a trade union or something, but it's like community first and company second. But it's a place where you can like learn, earn, and burn calories. So it's like learning, burning, earning. So yeah, I believe this it will have an impact, because like as you said, like it's quite different. Like if you have 2,000 people but who are highly aligned, they can actually accomplish similar thing, or better, actually more things than a million followers on Twitter. So yeah.
Okay. Jakub, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your insights on Balaji's idea of network unions. It was a pleasure having you on the Mtambo Desk podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Diogo. It was amazing talking to you. And actually, this is like what we are kind of slowly moving to the final kind of final
Episode.
yeah, this is like one of our three last of this season, so we are like almost reaching the goal of or yeah, I mean, it's a great journey. So it's like, yeah,
Yes,
therefore,
true.
like, now we are discussing the network union, the network archipelago, the network state, and
Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, so we are almost at the end of the season 1,
yeah,
and thank you. It's been a great journey with you.
yeah. It's been a great journey indeed, together. I mean, well, that brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed listening to Mtambo Desk podcast, don't forget to subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Until then, this is Duke Mtambo, and don't forget to do good always.